Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of. Killing in the name of. And now you do what they told ya. 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 Those who die are justified for wearing the badge. They're the chosen rights. You justify those that die by wearing the badge. They're the chosen rights. Those who die are justified for wearing the badge. They're the chosen rights. You justify those that die by wearing the badge. They're the chosen rights. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that hold office. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of.
The following show features stupid opinions and ideas from two idiot brothers who probably did little research and practiced zero due diligence on the topic at hand. The MLO BROS opinions do not reflect the views of their employer, guests, sponsors, families, neighbors, or pets. If you do not like what they are saying and don't agree with their views or opinions, don't watch the show. We can promise we do not care. Welcome to the worst show on the internet.
I mean, to be fair, it's...
we're live. Don't say anything. So sometimes when you have North Korea and South Korea meeting in the DMZ zone, like my picture, something pops up.
Listen, so real quick, I don't like this analogy unless I can be South Korea.
Fair. So we're with Chris Anderson. What do you need? What's wrong?
I'm adjusting.
Oh, okay. So we're here with Chris Anderson. To be fair, Tom McCabe is at a volleyball game.
Yeah, it's his daughter's volleyball game.
Daughter's volleyball game in Jefferson.
Yeah,
that would have been nice to know. That, and we are in our new studio actually too, so we're working out the kinks. So this is going to be a very one-sided discussion because Tom's not here. It would have been so good.
I know.
How about hey Tom? How about a heads freaking up? Right? This has been scheduled forever.
Doesn't make the Republicans look very good.
I mean, what the hell?
What I mean? But here in our new studio, so
it's nice over here.
Isn't it nice?
It's more open. It's much more open.
So again, the podcast I thought was going to be so good. We had two opposing factions.
Listen, I'm always willing to do this, so I know that Tom will be.
I don't know if Tom's going to get another chance.
Your hand's getting in the camera because it's too low.
No, I mean, come on,
you lowered those cameras.
No, it's because they're lower than what we normally are.
It's getting in his.
It's getting in his camera.
Sorry, we're working on.
Oh, it's all right.
I do want to. Well, let's talk. We have questions because you were here about a month ago, 2 months ago.
A month or so ago.
I thought of so many new questions to ask, in not so much like Democrat, Republican, or Democrat this, Democrat that. It's more just about the general setup, and I do want to talk about some Democrat stuff though too.
Yeah, man,
Mr. Anderson, because
whatever you want to talk about, as long as you don't call me that, I'm good.
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, as long as you don't call me that. A lot of people think it's like a Matrix thing, but I always go back to that weird Billy Madison, that guy, that weirdo in Billy Madison.
The guy who's is that?
I think it was.
Glad I called that guy. That guy?
No, wasn't the
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, no, not him. wasn't the principal in Billy Madison also Mr. Anderson?
Captain
or whatever?
Insano?
Yeah.
Captain Insano.
Yeah, so I always default just like I skip right past the Matrix and go to that weirdo.
too. If everybody's there, can you guys let us know how the sound is too? We have 57 people on. Like I said, we're in a new studio. So what we did was, just to kind of sidetrack, we rented the
not the
unit next
building,
to us?
yeah, the unit next to us, and we have a door connecting. So we're gonna have one side of our
we
our
probably have 1,500 square feet now. to
yeah.
work
So
with.
one side of our office is gonna be purely banking, a little bit more professionals. I think we're gonna hang up some pictures of the Poland woods and
Yeah.
I don't know, different pictures around Poland, so that it'll be more professional and not as nerdy.
Yeah,
And
and
then
we
our
could-
studio is
yeah.
like our man
we
cave.
could have a banger Christmas party in here now.
Yeah, we have lots of room.
So much room for activities.
Lots of room.
So much more room for activity.
So let's. I wanted to ask a couple questions. So set the premise. Today I got into it with Bob Hagan, who I'm
Okay.
now calling Uncle Bob. He and it wasn't just me. So like I made a comment from the MLO Bros, because him and Ruley have been like children, and I know you're going to say Ruley's a child. They've been like children. The entire thing, from the sign burning, from it's a terrible look for
The
both
weird
of them.
thing with Ruley saying that he was walking through his store and like,
Yeah,
and
great value, Larry David, that guy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
even if it was Hagen,
but he just walked through the store.
So I think my whole thing with that is that Bob's proven it wasn't him. Like, he has a legitimate alibi with like a full blown community leader, and Mike still won't say, "Yeah, I was wrong."
Yeah, but again,
Even
it's
if
the
even
whole
if it
thing.
was him, he just like walked through the store.
And
It's
there
like
was
he
the
did,
sign
right?
thing. It's just
Right.
It's like a bunch of kids, and I mean, I'm friends with Mr. Rowley. He helped us out before, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
he's from Poland. But again, I just the whole thing's out of control. So today, Hagen posted something, and I shared it to the MLO Bros and made a comment like, "These two are acting like children." He like freaking attacks me, like,
Yeah.
or whoever's running his account. Maybe it's not him. I mean, attacks me.
The thing is, I just don't think like after that happened, we got a lot of messages from different people where it was like calling he was calling people Nazis and all this different
So-
assholes and all this
so-
and I'm like, you're insulting like potential voters.
Voters. But
But-
again, it's like, and it's unnet. Like, I have harassed Tim Ryan. He's never once responded. This guy responds, and now I just want to do it
A little
again.
bit more local.
So
yeah.
here's my question. So with that guy doing that,
Mhm.
and I immediately think, well, he's a Democrat. I mean, that's a poor reflection on your party. What kind of ties or control, not even control, do you have control or suggestions? Because they represent you just as much as the Democrat Party represents them, correct?
Well, so I guess let me say I represent them is a better way to put it. Like the people who are seeking office and the elected officials guide the party just as much as I do.
Okay.
But to answer your actual question, I make suggestions. I provide resources. I do stuff like that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, just the best way to think of a party chair is as a consultant. My job is to guide the party itself. I can only offer advice to candidates, and it's up to them whether they take it or not.
So could you call? I don't want you to do this because I want Bob to keep responding to me forever. But could you call, like, if a candidate's like out of line, will you say, "Dude, you probably shouldn't do that"?
Or could you be like, the Democrat Party? He is being. You can vote on him as a Democrat, but we're like exiling him.
That happens too, though. Too, like, not in Mahoning County, but doesn't it? Like, if a Democrat, like, could a Democrat go rogue or something like that? I don't know.
I guess you would have to define rogue for me.
Jimmy Trafficant.
You
They
mean
kicked him out of the
jail?
party. No, that's not really.
I
jail.
was gonna say that's a
they
little
kicked him
different.
out- they
He
kicked
was
him out of the
independent
Democratic
by
Party?
one point.
I think it says our feed is frozen.
Your feed is frozen.
It doesn't. I just haven't moved. Maybe that's me.
We're moving right now, Dave. And okay, so
I can check.
Yeah.
So here's Pluchinski. Should be the best person wins. Best qualification, best ideas, no party bullshit. We got into that a little bit the other day. Feed is good. Yeah, Dave, check your email, check your internet there, buddy.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me see. So we're gonna get all kinds of questions here.
Yeah, Chris is just sitting incredibly still.
yeah.
like
Eventually, he's going to disappear.
like a
very
ninja.
very tortoise like.
Like a ninja. Feed is good. It's on delay. It's on hello. It's a little delay. So all right, let's talk a little bit here. So it's a relationship where you're there to help. You represent the party then.
Yeah. So my job is, I put together a coordinated campaign, like the commercial. I'm sure a lot of people have seen by now.
Yep.
The party chair's job is to represent the party as a whole, and to move the party as a whole forward, and then to do it in conjunction with the elected officials, and office seekers. And there's some
Mahoning County. Now, do you meet with national people too?
So I think I'm a little bit of an anomaly there because I'm also currently still the president of the Ohio Young Dems, which is a very large under 40 caucus. So I think I'm probably the anomaly because I do. Okay. But it's in that capacity, not in the capacity of
you're not getting advice from like Nancy Pelosi saying, "Hey, do this in Mahoning County."
No, like most of the time is I'll be honest. Most of the time when I see that the national party's made a move, I cringe because I know that it's going to backfire and in real America somewhere.
See, that's interesting.
So,
that's the first thing.
Do you feel like when that happens, you feel like on a more local level, you have to pivot according to what they're doing?
So I don't pivot.
Do you have to follow the national stuff to a T?
No.
But if like they're changing their opinion on something like over time, do you feel you have to obviously follow suit, right? Or no? Not necessarily.
I mean, I guess not necessarily. No.
Yeah.
We work in partnership with the Ohio Democratic Party. Mm-hmm. I can honestly say in an official like county party capacity, there's never been like a, I take that back because Tom Perez did come here in 2018. But yeah, you don't typically without getting too deep into the weeds, the DNC is a structure like outside of itself or outside of state parties. So like members contribute to or not contribute. I'm sorry. Folks get basically appointed to the DNC by the state party. So in theory, like you could run as a DNC representative if you want. Like the DNC is basically comprised of people from state parties and county parties that are appointed through the state party. And then there's organizations that have to be a part of the DNC as well.
Right.
But that's where you also, so that's why you also get into like wonky stuff. Like just because the DNC doesn't get involved in something doesn't mean like the DSCC won't or the DCCC.
Wow.
I think a lot of people think of the DNC as like this big, like gigantic, like terrifying organization when in all actuality, it's just kind of like a governing body, if you will,
of the Democrats.
Of state parties and of
Stephanie just said I need a flow chart.
Yeah, it's Stephanie. You're not wrong, Stephanie. When I first got engaged in politics, trying to learn the different structures of a party where it can be a lot.
It is so much, and I know nothing about it. And outside looking in, it just
that's
seems
something
like
that's something you don't
monumental thing.
The party stuff, you don't get into that in freaking high school.
No.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. There's nothing like that.
And then it gets even deeper into the weeds because then like individual people will have their own leadership packs, for example,
right.
Like when you hear like, oh, like Mitch McConnell's planning to spend $28 million in Ohio supporting JD Vance. When you hear stuff like that, it's like it's actually coming out of a really sketchy dark money pack that Mitch McConnell just happens to control. Yeah,
I'm sure the Dems have those too.
Oh, everybody's got them.
Exactly.
Everybody's got them.
All right, I got a good question from Steph. Steph is.
Well, like, where's that money from? Like you say that like dark money pack
businesses.
Like just
foreign
anonymous
foreign
businesses?
Governments.
See, why is that even a thing? Like, why?
It is against federal law to take money for politics from any federal or any foreign entity.
Yeah.
I still think they do though.
I mean, I can honestly say
I've
never been put in that situation, but I can, right hand to God, say I would turn it down and send it back.
So you never had.
There's
like,
nothing in politics.
Some Canadian comes up to you and he's like, "Hey, I heard you the Mahoning.
Yeah.
I need you to do me some favor.
I'm the guy right across the lake here.
Yeah. I always I think a good tent post should be there's nothing in politics worth going to jail over.
100%. There's nothing in the world worth going to jail over.
No, not at all.
Yeah, offshore. Yeah, Steph says. Okay, so she had a good question. Can we go over this one? So, and this is something that annoys me so much. Steph says, if you want younger people to engage in the political true process, they no longer want people to go low. Show me what you can do. Just don't openly bash the person. And that, man, that is.
I think Stephanie's right too.
I
I think the
become
younger
disengaged.
generation is against bashing and putting somebody down, rather
had
than
such a good
saying what
question.
they can do for the people.
I had
But
such a
I
good
don't
question if Tom would have been here, because my opening question, I totally don't want to ruin it. My opening question was going to be introduce yourselves, and then I was going to be like, okay, who talks more shit, the Republicans or the Democrats? That was going to be my opening
So
question.
I actually agree with her, but I think that you also have to understand that there's a difference between talking shit about somebody and pointing out
exposing
and,
them.
and pointing out what they actually do and believe in.
Okay.
There's a big difference between those. Like talking,
there's a line though too, because I've seen even on your guys' stuff, it crosses the saying what they do and what they say versus talking shit, or it gets into talking shit on the Facebook page, 100%.
so
comments probably.
The posts
Uh,
talk shit.
I think I would need an example because I look at all of our advertising before it goes out.
And then in the same breath, I guess the younger generation, I mean, they loved shitting on Trump. So I guess they kind of do.
Trump, but then again, Trump shit right back.
Yeah.
So, but again, in that, I think Trump, like him or hate him, he is one of the reasons why right now it's so freaking divisive across the board. It was like it before, but now it's really.
I would go out on a limb and say he was the reason.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
But the problem is too, whether you like him or hate him, he proved that you could be like that and be successful. So then it breeded and created from the other side. They tried to like mimic it in their own kind of way. And it's
so there's a book by I think it's by Ta-Nehisi Coates. It's called White Trash.
yeah.
And she went and
Sorry, I'm just showing guys a good example of you guys talking shit. Like,
what was it?
Look at that. I couldn't even read it in time.
It's just the smart ass comment.
Hold on. Wait.
So but this is an example of this. This is a fact. Marx literally ran in 6 different races in 3 different parties.
It is a fact.
That's not talking shit. That's pointing out that the guy's an opportunist.
Okay, hold. But then at the very bottom, you have a little arrow that says live look at Mark trying to count the number of different offices he sought. So like,
when you've sought office 6 different times in 3 different parties, it's tough to keep track of. We're just trying to do the guy a solid.
You're making fun of him.
We're just trying to do him a solid.
But what were you saying? What were you saying about the book?
So there's a book called White Trash, and again, for the life of me, I can't remember the author.
Yeah.
But the whole book is about moving through like class systems.
Yeah.
And she, after I think it was written by a she. If she's not, please don't come for me.
Yeah.
But after the author went back and rewrote the introduction and included a section on how that's what Donald Trump did.
Yeah.
Is when he was talking to businessmen, he was this big titan of industry. But then, you had a guy who was trying to convince blue collar workers that he gave a shit about them, even though it's well known that he didn't pay his bills to blue collar workers. And B, he was a guy who lived in an extravagant lifestyle that tried to make people think, oh, I'm just like you.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
But he was successful in convincing him, though.
He was a snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
Are you still trying to find more examples?
There's a ton of stuff.
You don't have to convince the public that both sides bash one another. There's commercial after commercial after commercial.
I guess I'd rather see
good things you're going to do,
what they're going to do and what they have done versus what the other person isn't doing or hasn't done. Or
you see a lot more bashing than you do.
Does that make sense?
Constructive.
Like I don't know.
I just spent a bunch of money on an ad that's solely focused on what our
I saw that.
candidates
That was the one you sent me.
Yeah,
that was great. That was a great ad.
Yeah.
It had drone footage.
You know what I would do if I was a politician? I would go into the race from day one saying, I'm gonna be better than my opponents and not talk trash and say that in every.
They all do that.
That's not a new concept.
It doesn't work.
It's called the Clean Campaign Pledge, and as soon as a candidate gets the opportunity to
just fire missiles,
it's not. Well, yeah, that's not new.
This is way too big of a grenade to not throw.
Yeah,
they say that all the time. We're gonna make this a clean run, and we're gonna be friendly, and then the next it's like. His wife's ugly.
Well, and that's what, like the minute that a candidate gets polling that shows that they're in trouble, they instantly go on the attack.
Because let's be honest. And here's the thing. I know
you got to keep your hands down, or scoot over this way more so that you're out of your camera. It's this camera that's picking you up.
My headphones are attached. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out. the problem is, and Isaac and I know this for a fact. Okay, we have a podcast with you or a superintendent or something or charity. Well, actually, you're pulling some numbers right now, but a charity, 20, 30 people watching. We have a podcast about a business owner who drops pennies off when somebody paid for pennies. I don't know if you saw that whole thing, like the pole nutrition thing where they dropped off pennies, like somebody paid with pennies.
I briefly heard about it.
We had 350 to 400 people watching. People like controversy.
Yeah.
Is that fair? I mean, that's fair.
And again, I still say it's not talking shit to point out, that again, using your example you pulled up, it's not like, is it fun? Like,
you're trying to be cute.
Is the passive aggressive stuff funny? Sure. But the big overarching message there is, hey, this guy just jumps from party to party, from office to office, and has, no qualifications to actually hold it. He's just hoping you don't notice.
Did I read that? I don't think I read this one yet. So 100% agree. Passive aggressive, sarcastic comments are not necessary and turns voters off. That's what I'm saying.
See, I wonder statistically though, are you collecting any kind of like marketing research in terms of your advertisement and how much reach they have and effectiveness? Do you have anything?
Yeah, 100%. So everything that we do from a party end since I became chair is incredibly targeted.
Do you see great feedback from those ads that are negative, or like good? Do you collect good data saying it helps? So in order to to take my political hat off and put on like my actual like marketer hat.
Yeah. Because that's kind of what you are too, right?
My full-time job. Yeah, my full-time. No. My full-time job is as a digital communications director.
Where?
I'm not going to say that online.
Okay. I think I've seen you before. Now that you said that, I think I know where you are. Okay, we'll talk about it.
But yeah, I'm not going to involve my.
Oh, I don't blame you one bit. Yeah, I had that happen in my last job.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
But in order to know that, we would have to poll after we run an ad. You know what I mean? So like you can use like reach and engagement and stuff like that to get an idea of whether you're reaching people or not. And you can read the comments and get sentiment, but to know whether it actually moved voters, you would have to poll.
Interesting.
Do you guys do polls for local stuff?
Not usually for local stuff. A lot of people think it's like Parks and Rec where they poll like city council races, and I've seen polling in like massive city council races like Columbus.
Yeah.
I've seen them poll down there. Yeah, but I've never seen polling in a local race. Like Senate races will poll, like the Ohio Senate will poll. General Assembly races in general will poll. Yeah. That's usually about as low as it goes.
We've had some comments about
go up to Steph.
Steph?
Go up to Steph. Steph said something.
Well, that person's in trouble because she's talking about voting for Ruley against Tim Ryan, and they're running in completely different races.
Exactly, Isaac. But Trump, the stoked racism and sexism, not in a good way. However, it also brought people together who are in the middle. Like Trump called it what it was. However, his follow-up response to improve the situation and encourage others to constructively engage was not the best, in my opinion. Yeah, and the other thing too is, he wasn't presidential in any way, shape, or form. Like,
but that's what got him elected is the problem.
But I don't like. I thought
that and a bunch of Vladimir Putin's money. But
goodness gracious,
that's
another topic in itself. But like, I thought Obama was much more presidential.
All of them are much more. Every president, Republican or Democrat before Trump, was much more presidential.
Yeah, but I thought
I liked his fiscal stuff, but other than that,
yeah.
All right, so okay, we're not going to talk about that. So let's talk about long-term politicians. Or
wait, no, can we before that? Can we go back to what you said about Trump getting money from Russia and it being a fraud or whatever?
Honestly, sometimes I just troll you guys.
I know. But like, isn't that hypocritical though? Because it's like when Trump won, it was, oh, it's rigged. It's rigged. He shouldn't have won. Yada yada yada. And then like Biden wins, and then the other side does the same thing. It's like it's rigged.
I think the difference though is that we didn't try and stage an actual insurrection. Like we didn't physically go and assault the Capitol. We just pointed out, hey, a bunch of sketchy Russian troll farms amplified false stories and drove people, drove election
instead
results.
They just cried and fake impeached him. Like,
I mean, I guess, would you rather have people complain or would you rather have them literally assault democracy?
That's true. You're right. That was a step over.
That was
definitely wrong.
Complete cluster.
Yeah, that was stupid.
of epic proportion on so many different levels. The special, did you watch the special on
The documentary on HBO.
For
is
HBO.
good.
Did
Is
you
it
watch
on HBO Max? I didn't see it live.
Yes.
Oh, it's
okay.
good.
What's it called?
It's the Q. It's like breaking down Q and
It's like
Oh, you know what? I think I saw parts of it. I didn't.
it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Wait, is that the one with the assault?
Yes.
Where they go like step by step with like holding the door off and
Yes.
stuff? Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that's you gotta watch that one.
Have you listened to anything from the trial of the Proud Boys, or not the Proud Boys founder, the Oath Keepers founder?
I haven't.
Some of the testimony that's come out, not testimony, but some of the exhibits they've presented in there have been wild.
Yeah. Who? So us. So I'm really in a bad. We're gonna apologize. Yeah, Jamie started watching. So where do you all stand? Well, he's obviously a Democrat because he's the chair of the Democratic Party.
It's true.
I was thinking about this on the drive over. So what am I? I am pretty
You're pretty conservative.
like I am fiscally conservative, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just because what I've seen when there's a Democrat in office and Republic over time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's from a banking point of view, and it's almost a selfish point of view.
Yeah. And like national
But
And-
I'm not a Republican or a Democrat because I'm going to vote for who I feel is the best, if that makes sense. I'm almost anti, no offense to you, and you're doing a great job, but anti-party, if that makes sense. We need to make a party that's anti-party. I don't know. Like, I don't think voting party lines. I want to vote who the best candidate is, not Republican or Democrat.
Yeah, and it's almost like at the end of the day, they're not going to do enough when they get in either way. That if they're a good person, I'd rather just put a good person in than and say screw who they are
Correct.
politically.
And it's like I find it hard to believe that you're going to agree with one candidate on everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to vote with the candidate that I feel I align the most with.
Yeah.
Republican or Democrat.
But like, I feel like economically, you could have a Republican and a Democrat in here, and they could make equally good points. And be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
But you know, everybody thinks we're stubborn, but I'm willing to listen.
No,
You know what
I'm
I
pretty
mean?
straight down the line. I think other than economically, or I'm economically conservative, but just about everything else.
Do you match up
I'm more Democrat
across the board
I'm
with
more
the
left.
Democrat stuff?
I'm sorry.
Do you have anything you don't agree with on the Democrats? Like I don't know. So I mean,
Any of the big ones.
yeah. Like, is there anything you're like, well, I don't agree with that for the Democrat? You know what I mean?
I guess I would need you to pick an issue because I don't think there's a single Democrat that agrees across the board with
Yeah.
everything.
Are there some things that you might
I don't, it's hard to word.
that some Democrats might argue
Like any of the big
that
ones.
you're not far enough on a topic? I don't I don't even know one of the topics.
I mean, I've definitely gotten criticism. For not being as outspoken as some people would like on gun control issues.
Mm.
I'm a big proponent of of common sense gun legislation, stuff like we talked about before.
Interesting.
And I own guns. I love guns, but I think not having a background. We talked about this last time.
Yeah,
we were talking about
we've talked about this before.
Yeah, like the
so
driver's
I've gotten criticism for that. I'm sure that if you talk to a lot of people, they would find issues they want me to be more outspoken on.
You didn't announce your pronouns when you came in, so you're not super woke. Do you ever get any trouble for not being woke enough? I guess.
Chris,
I honestly, I don't necessarily think that that's a joke per se because none of us are impacted by it. I think that if I were impacted by it, I would, I think if I were impacted by it, that would probably be a lot more offensive for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that I do go out of my way to be incredibly inclusive of others. Inclusive of others and respect it. If someone leads with, if someone tells me what their pronouns are, I have no problem using them.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you would have asked me what they were, I would have told you.
And I agree with that. And I could see that too. And it's like, I'm kind of like, I don't want to push my stuff on other people. And you know what I mean? And if they want me to call them him or she or, whatever.
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Right.
With
And I think that, it's all fun and games. People like to make fun of that, but the people that are making fun of that are the people not impacted by it.
And the people who make fun of stuff like that, or they haven't been around it enough, if that makes sense. Or they're not what I figured out. So I come from we were from South Range, North Lima.
Yeah.
Graduated with 86 people. I went and worked on a cruise ship after college.
Really?
And I went to Westminster College, and then I worked on a cruise ship for 2 years, assistant cruise director.
I was supposed to go on a cruise before
So much
before
fun.
COVID.
It was so much fun. But what that did to me, coming from a small local school, right, and then Westminster College, 2,000 people, middle of nowhere, I got to meet so many people from different lifestyles, different sexual orientations, different races, different everything. You know, I work with them. You know
Cultures.
what I mean? What's that?
Cultures. Yeah.
But like gay people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Homosexual. Like I had never
All
experienced that
kinds of
before.
dancers on the ship.
Dancers, right? And to me, that opened up my eyes. It was like I was so sheltered growing up, and I wasn't around it. I didn't understand it, and it's like people don't understand it. They don't witness it.
Sure.
They fear it almost, and they're like, I'm not gay. I'm not dealing with those gay guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like
Right.
once
And that's what I mean. That, you know, that
they're
everybody,
people.
people like to make a joke out of it because it doesn't impact them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not something to joke around with.
Right.
You know what I mean?
it's- yeah,
But
you
then at
don't
the
know what
same
people are
time,
going through.
I understand that. But at the same time, you can joke around about something and it not be. I seriously think you could joke around about something and not be serious. People say stuff they don't mean all the time.
I mean, I think you have to take everything in context. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because there are always those people that are, they push the limit until someone gets legitimately offended,
100%.
and then they're like, "Oh, I was just kidding." No,
Yeah.
the
No,
fuck
you're
you
being
were.
an
You were-
asshole.
Yeah, you were being an
Yeah.
asshole. You
Yeah.
weren't just kidding.
No, you
just got called on being an asshole and you don't like it.
Yeah.
Look
No,
at
you're
this.
100%.
Look at this quote by Jared. Jared, this is amazing. If you agree with somebody 7% of the time, you should vote for them. If you agree with someone 100% of the time, you should see a psychiatrist.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember who said it, but there's a really good quote that I use when I explain politics to a lot of people. You're not supposed to compare a candidate to the almighty. You're supposed to compare him to the alternative.
That's a good quote. I like that one too. Exactly. I like that one.
So,
Trent Conway, you are not allowed to identify as skinny. Sorry.
see, that's the kind of shit that I mean. Like
that.
you can like, yeah, it doesn't impact him, so he thinks that it's funny. When in all actuality, he's just being an asshole.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you get a lot of that on Facebook.
So,
Luke-
yeah, I guarantee you, in person, he wouldn't talk like that.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Dude, Facebook is
It's
just
yeah.
You're
Keyboard
throwing,
warriors.
throwing stuff out there.
Okay, here's a legitimate question. Do you think the railroad unions, I have no idea what he's talking about. Railroad unions have a reason to strike.
So I'm gonna talk to this from what I've read about it. The railroad unions are not A, from my understanding, are no longer going to strike, but are B, have been considering to strike because of the amount of time that they're spending away from their families and because of their employers not being willing to meet a compromise. So
reason to strike.
it sounds like a great reason to strike to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
So-
would. Yeah. You got kids, right?
Yeah, I have two.
Two. Yeah. So you don't want to be away from. I know. I don't want to be away from. They're
No,
driving me crazy, but I don't want to be. Away
And it's
from them.
perfectly reasonable when you're literally driving the economy
Yeah.
to expect some respect out of your employer.
Yep. I agree with that.
I mean, you shouldn't have to drive the economy to get respect out of your employer, but yes, I
agree. Isaac, any comments on the railroad?
I have no idea what's going on with the railroad.
So,
no, I don't have any comments.
there's a bunch of smaller unions that make up. You know who could tell you a lot more about this than I can is Bob Hagan. He's a locomotive engineer.
Come on the show, Bob.
That's awesome.
But there's my understanding is there's a lot of small unions that make up their big Brotherhood of Locomotive and Train Engineers.
Okay.
And they've expressed to their employers for a long time, hey, we're unhappy that we're away from our families for this long period of time. And that's all they're asking for is, they're not asking from my understanding, they're not asking for a lot more money. They're not asking for any outrageous benefits or anything like that. They're asking to be with their families more, and their employers aren't. They're not welcome to it, or they're not opening up to it. So yeah, I do agree. I do believe that it's reasonable for the engineers to want to strike.
No, boy, there's a lot of the railroad thing. That's me. Let's see here. For those of you just joining in late, what's his name? McCabe had a daughter had a volleyball game.
And-
So he's not coming. So he didn't
Ran
cancel
late.
it. Didn't let us.
Ran late.
Yeah, ran late. Didn't let us know.
However, political parties may now and then answer popular ends. They are likely in the course of time and things to
Oh, yeah,
become
I was
potent
gonna-
engines by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying and afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust dominion.
Yeah, that's from Washington's farewell address to Congress.
So
He did Washington did not agree with political parties. No. Did that guy up there make a fat joke?
He did. That was
Yeah, that's-
very mean.
I mean, he can make all the fat jokes he wants. I can lose weight. He's still going to be a dumbass. So,
Fair enough. I didn't want you to read that. I was
no, I don't care.
You're gone. Let's get rid of him.
Yeah, again, I don't care. He can make all the jokes he wants. He's still going to be a dick.
Yeah. I hate Facebook. How do you feel about Dems stopping oil production?
If they did, I'd be concerned.
They haven't, though, right?
No.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. See,
No, he's probably referencing the Keystone Pipeline, which wasn't going to import oil or wasn't going to provide oil to the United States.
Where was
to
that
begin
going?
with. It was trash oil that was going to be exported to other countries.
So and here's
It wasn't. From my understanding, it wasn't even usable.
And here's the problem with that comment right there. Okay, I got my hand. The problem with that comment is there's so much incorrect shit
Yeah, you don't know what to
on
believe.
Facebook. You
Yeah.
don't know what to believe,
No.
and it's not
The simple answer to that is to not get your news from Facebook.
100%. I don't
There's
even
plenty of legitimate news sources out there.
Yeah, and even those are
What should
sometimes
as what news should I be listening to for in
So-
your opinion?
Honestly, I'm a big fan of primary sources. I watch a lot of C-SPAN.
Okay.
For my national news, I watch a lot of C-SPAN.
that is very unbiased. So that's unbiased. I'd say C-SPAN's unbiased.
C-SPAN's, yeah, I would call C-SPAN basically as unbiased as they get because they're just going to broadcast most of the. I mean, they've got shows like they have like a morning show and stuff like that, but they're pretty unbiased. And then most of the time they're just literally broadcasting what's happening.
Yeah.
They don't provide commentary at all. They'll just literally broadcast it.
And that's where you get into problems is the commentary and stuff like that on the big media,
Yeah.
both Fox and CNN. I mean, they're both.
Yeah.
very-
I think that sources like NPR, Reuters, I think those are all safe news sources.
There you go. Thank you for being educated. There you go. You got a compliment.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Can we? Steph just said, "Can we review with your guest George Washington?"
Yeah, we already-
believe in
yeah.
political
That's actually what I said. I didn't say that he believed in political parties. I said that he railed against them in his farewell address.
parties. No,
I gotta-
she's just
I gotta
saying.
research that because that's interesting. If one of our founding fathers didn't believe in political
That's
parties.
awesome. I mean, that's awesome.
So he his farewell address to Congress was like an hour and some odd minutes long. And if you ever want to see something cool, all of the members of Congress all come together at the end of a session and they read it at the end of a session. They all take turns reading parts of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Also,
if you watch C-SPAN, you'd see it.
also on
I don't.
top of that, I think George Washington, like his teeth were made up of the teeth he ripped out of his slaves' mouths.
I thought they were wooden.
No.
The outsides were wood.
Yeah.
The insides was teeth that he ripped out of his slaves' mouths.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's nasty. It's like springs and teeth. Yeah, from his
Yeah.
slaves.
Wait.
Yeah.
What?
Pried it out of their
Oh,
mouth,
they didn't have that.
put it in some wood, stuck it in his own
They
mouth.
didn't have that in my 8th grade book.
Oh yeah, bro.
Is that
oh,
good?
yeah.
Did you agree? You heard that too?
I've heard that, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's pretty screwed up.
Well, now I just
Yeah, you got to take the good with the bad.
it's like,
Good with the
it's like
bad.
any political candidate.
Yeah.
It's like any some pros and cons.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
and look up some of the absolutely terrible stuff Christopher Columbus did when you're done with that.
No fighting with our guests, jerk faces.
Is that the guy that guy that tried to make a fat
Trent
joke?
Conway.
No,
No.
that's the other
That's
guy.
the guy from before.
Stop
about-
making. Don't fight. Be nice, Mayor Trent. They were a porcelain. They were porcelain, you guys.
They were not. I'd look that up. What those teeth were made out of. I'd Google that. Hold on, let's Google it.
Yeah, like Jared said, dude. I don't know, Jared, you got some good comments here. Viral memes are more political weight than actual facts. That's the crazy world we live in right now. It's awesome, right? I mean, it is something, man. What do you think of Facebook? What do you think of Facebook and politics? You dive in here though. You're part of it, right?
I mean, I think it's a good way to get your message out. I think that too often people will see, stuff that their third cousin's brother posted that he read on some, ridiculous blog, and they'll take it as fact. So I think that with Facebook, you've always got to take it with a healthy level of skepticism.
You got to watch where the links are coming from too. That's the you get these freaking crazy ass websites and everything else on both sides. I mean, across it's like, man, get some crazy freaking crap. There were 3 sets of look, Isaac. There were 3 sets.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about it. I've heard the same thing Isaac's heard.
Yeah. So Washington wore dentures throughout his entire presidency. Contrary to myth, they were not made of wood. Yeah. They were technological marvels of their day, crafted of lead, brass, gold, and steel springs. The combination of human and animal teeth in the contraption was not uncommon. They just say human and animal teeth. Wonder who those human teeth were from. Yeah.
Wow.
But
that's brutal. I had some more questions. May I look? As you getting more questions? These are good. This is good stuff, Chris. You are always can we talk about the Board of Elections?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, to the extent I know anything about the Board of Elections.
Okay. Well, I just so reason we're doing this, I want to talk about the Board of Elections just to fill everybody in here. So, independent candidate Eric Ungaro was basically denied being on the board. It went to the Supreme Court of Ohio, and then the Supreme Court said that the Mahoning County Board of Elections was wrong in...
I think it's important to point out they didn't say they were wrong. They said the process was flawed. They didn't disagree with the argument.
Okay, the process was flawed.
So if had they had the initial hearing had they had the hearing they were talking about and kicked them off, he would have lost it.
What was flawed about the process?
That they'd initially talked about having a hearing. Apparently, again, I'm not a lawyer, but they talked about having a hearing and then didn't have one.
They also talked about how Beatrice basically said, "Oh, I did research," and didn't share the research.
Or the lady in the meeting saying, "Who are we supposed to vote for?"
Yeah, that was weird too.
Who are we?
There was some.
I thought you said.
I
Did
think that I was there.
Okay, you and Tom have to be at those, right?
Well, Tom has to be there because he's the director of the Board of Elections.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I try and go to all of them that I can. Sometimes they conflict with my other things I have to do, but I try to go to as many of them as I can. Yeah.
So who picks those people on there? So you have Beatrice.
Well, so there are 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans, and they're appointed by our central committees.
Central committees. We'll get back into that flow chart.
Yeah. So every major political party is comprised of a central committee. And if you've ever voted in a partisan primary, you've definitely voted for one at some point, I would assume. Okay. And they're essentially your neighborhood's representative to the major political parties. And that's who, so they have terms on the Board of Elections, and they have to, essentially those people then have to reapply and be confirmed by the central committee.
So that you guys could have had Ungaro, but they dropped the ball. The board dropped the ball.
I mean, I'm not going to say that anybody dropped the ball, because I don't disagree that what was the point in wasting taxpayer money on a hearing that was going to yield the same outcome? You know what I mean? So I don't disagree.
But there was verbiage. I read the court docs, and there was comments in there about Beatrice saying, "Oh, I did research," not sharing his research. I mean, there was things. So my opinion, Beatrice fucked up. Excuse my language. BT13. I get 1 F-bomb.
I mean, you only get 1. Crap. I've used a lot more than 1.
I mean, he messed up.
But I think you have to remember too that that's a Democratic body, and I use Democratic like small d.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's a Democratic body, and a Republican voted with him and said, no, this guy shouldn't be on the ballot. That wasn't Democrats who kicked him off. That was a bipartisan decision of, hey, this guy didn't make a good faith effort to disassociate from a party.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is,
but what I'm saying is, like, you can't vilify the guy when it takes 3 votes to do it. He doesn't get 3 votes.
But you had a lady in the meeting saying, "Who are we supposed to vote for?" Like, you can hear her saying, "I thought you said to vote yes." Like that is corruption.
Yeah,
in my opinion. I mean, is that corruption or is that not understanding the parliamentary procedure?
That's sunshine.
But she's asking him.
Hold on, back up, because that's not even what the fuck that means. He's over here throwing out terms that mean completely separate
that's
stuff.
Your 1 F-bomb.
But she's asking him who she should vote for. She's like, "I thought you said to vote yes." Like, that's what she's whispering.
To talk about that before
you can talk about anything you want. That's the, again, like, that's not, there's nothing, just this is one of those. This is honest to God. This is one of those cases, and don't take this the wrong way. Of if you don't understand how the process works, then I can absolutely see how it looks weird. But
you're allowed
if you would watch any government hearing, you would see people functioning the exact same way.
But she's listening to. Isn't she voting like based on her own judgment, not what he's telling?
And my understanding is she just didn't understand the parliamentary question, and that's why she asked for clarification on how to vote on the parliamentary question.
It looks so bad though.
Yeah.
But again, there's also a difference between how things look and how things actually happened. You know what I mean? Like, well, let me rephrase that before people don't come for me in the comments. That goes back to where exactly what I said before, that if that's the first government hearing you've ever watched, then yeah, I'm sure that it might have looked suspicious. But if you watch government hearings, it's not uncommon for people to talk to each other or to ask for clarifications, or even there's I don't think people realize too, there's a lot of members of Congress, for example, that just flip their vote after the vote's done because they can amend their vote afterwards.
That I've seen. I'm just saying, I really think, and it's my opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. From what I saw and what I read in the court findings, Beatrice, that board messed up. That's
the Supreme Court said that they erred in not having a hearing on them.
I don't know who votes for it, but I think Beatrice should not be on there.
And I don't think
But I mean, again, I'm also not saying that,
they cost you. You could have probably had a candidate not on there had they not messed up. From a democratic point of view, they didn't do it the right way. The Supreme Court said it. I'd be pissed if I was you, because you could not.
But I also see their end of it too, where they're constantly under pressure to cut costs. And I don't know what a hearing costs, but if you know that the guy broke the law, what's the point?
The point is the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. That's the point. So the Supreme Court saying,
and from that board and all of the Democrats and Republicans in that room, it's not in their best interest for Ongaro to move forward as a strong independent, because they have to go against him.
I love Eric. I do. He's my friend, and obviously that's one of the reasons why. I mean, I'd be whatever to not say that he's a friend.
Yeah,
he's got a long road ahead.
Because
of the amount of money that
is against him. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But what would be interesting to see? It's tonight the night Luke writes his weekly thank you notes. What are you talking about?
What's wrong with writing thank you notes? I have custom thank you cards.
I'm not writing thank you notes. I've never wrote a thank you note in my life.
Again, what's wrong with writing thank you notes? I love writing thank you notes.
What am I writing thank you notes for? What's he talking about?
I've got some thoughts. So happy.
Jerry, I don't know what you're talking about. Please explain, because I want to know what I'm talking about. Who is your favorite president? That's a good question. That's a great question.
Yeah, so I am actually a big Lincoln buff. I would say that Lincoln was probably my favorite historical president, and then I've got to go modern era with Obama.
Yeah. Your favorite president, Isaac? Calvin Coolidge.
No, honestly, man, like I agree with the Obama pick from like a purely presidential perspective. Like, I thought that growing up, I thought like that guy was such a cool role model. I really did. Like, and I thought he was like such a good. He had such good public speaking ability. Mm-hmm. Like,
if I said Ronald Reagan, would that make me a but that was when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? If I said Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, when you were a kid.
But I don't. Yeah. So how old are you?
Ronald Reagan? I don't even know if I was born. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly, because
Reagan was Ronald was like 7 or 8 or 9, 10.
Yeah, I was born in 88.
Okay, so I was 79. So yeah, you guys missed Reagan. You really missed Reagan.
Oh yeah.
So you were 8. So that would have been like Clinton. No,
I was definitely Clinton.
Bush.
Yep.
Some of the stuff JFK was doing, that dude, he was a ladies' man. Tell you what.
See, I like best president. I don't know what you're talking about. Who are these people? Reagan was president when Chris was born. Reagan was president when Chris was born.
What about
88?
What about
born 88? Yeah, I think 89. He was
no, because presidentials are in even years.
So 88.
Yeah, I think
That's
regardless,
got to be
of-
about right. Yeah.
What about the comment that said if the Rock runs
Yeah.
for
What about Rock?
president?
The Rock.
The Rock runs for president. Would you vote for him?
I don't know anything about the Rock. I don't. I think that if the Trump presidency showed us anything, that
Anybody could win.
movie stars and TV stars should probably just stay in their damn lane.
Yeah.
That's fair. And the problem is, I think The Rock would probably win because people would vote for him. You know that,
Just
right?
because of votes. Yeah.
It's like Rocco Camacho in Idiocracy. Have you seen Idiocracy? Have you ever seen Idiocracy?
No.
It's a great film.
Listen, Idiocracy.
I heard.
a
It's right
great
here.
film about the dumbing down of what happens in the future because everybody gets stupid. It's amazing. Macho Camacho was the president.
I like the whole theory. I do.
Oh, Bush Senior. There you go. Thank you, Bill.
Oh, there you go. Bush Senior was the
80,
president when
there
I
you go.
was. So Reagan was not president when I was
I
born.
think he was 80 to 88.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Ronald Reagan was a movie star. That is true. Ronald Reagan could be compared to The Rock. He was a movie star.
Go up to Jamie.
Except here's the difference, and this is where that argument falls apart. Is he also had government experience after he was done being a movie star?
Oh, he was.
He was the governor of California.
Yeah, California.
So it would be
It'd be like
Arnold Schwarzenegger running for president. Yeah. Yeah.
Which am I going up to?
Go up to the South Range government class. How serious was South Range government class? So Jamie,
Oh, Jamie. Mr. Patton was amazing.
I didn't have Patton. He retired the year when I was a junior, so I didn't get to have him as a senior.
Patton is the only grade A. Is the only class I got all A's in. All whenever I had him because
Really?
he was amazing.
Yeah, he was great government.
Yeah, I had a lot of great government teachers as well. I went to Hubbard, but
Yeah. I love that because it's like storytelling.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I also like the government stuff too.
Yeah.
Are we saying Dr. Oz has a chance?
No.
I don't even know what he's running for.
he's running for the Senate in Pennsylvania, even though he's from New Jersey.
How the hell does that work?
Interesting.
Because the founding fathers didn't write residency requirements into congressional offices.
What, you are a baby? Yeah. One night I was out with some buddies and seen trafficking. He told us not to sit on the toilet seats at the White House. I still don't know why the hell he meant What's that about? Do you have any idea what he's talking about? Nothing. Have you ever sat on the seats of the? You been to the White House?
What's that?
Do you ever like me? What's your biggest politician you've met?
I mean, I've met Biden
Did you
Uh-huh.
before vice president or when he was
when
president?
he was here campaigning for Cordray.
Okay.
Yeah, I've met. I mean,
What do you have to say? Anything?
What's that?
Was it an interesting?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Rich Cordray. It was a grip and grin line. You know,
How
what I
long
mean? You
ago
only
was that?
have Cordray was 18.
18. So okay.
They
just said, Luke, you can run in PA and win.
So what? He's doing it based off of like a second home. Is that what you're saying?
I
with
think he
Dr.
used
Oz?
his in-laws' house.
Wow, is that true? That's like going to South Range schools and you live in Poland, but you use your grandma's house.
Yeah, I think he used his in-laws' house or something like that. He like, I don't know. Again, I'm not going to weigh in on PA politics, but I mean, Dr. Walker, or I saw Herschel Walker thing. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Dr. Oz is he's running probably the worst campaign I've ever seen in my life.
Can we talk? And I want to talk a little bit too, because when we had Eric on, we had the map, like the different congressional maps. And I know you're going to say the Republicans changed it.
Gerrymandering.
Dude, regardless of who did what when, that is the most insane stuff. The map, the I've ever seen. Like,
They just completely disregarded the law.
how so? And people have said that to me when I was fighting with Uncle Bob.
So we multiple times so I don't know if you guys remember or not, there was a ballot initiative that passed that basically said we're sick of gerrymandering. We don't care what party's doing it.
2018.
Sure. I don't remember the year.
I don't know why that just popped into my head.
Yeah, I don't remember the year, but it said that you have to meet certain criteria. You know, you can't crack districts, you can't pack them, you can only split them X number of times, stuff like that. And the Republicans said, oh shit, we've got to actually compete on our ideas. We can't do that. So we're just going to completely disregard the law.
How did they do that then? How did it
Because
happen?
they have a super majority, so they can do whatever they
But
want.
doesn't it go to the courts though?
Mhm.
And
The court
passed
sent it back multiple
like
times.
4 or 5 times or something like that. I remember
Mhm.
that.
And then they finally found what they did is they found a panel of federal judges that were appointed by Donald Trump. So they were Republican judges
Holy shit.
that went back and they issued an opinion that said, you've got until X date to figure this out. If not, this is the map you get.
Wow.
So they imposed the map. So federal judges that were appointed by Trump imposed the redistricting map.
Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with the 59th.
Mhm.
right? So, and again, I don't think
It's got a little bit of a bunch of different areas. Like it goes through Struthers and
let me see if I might have it up. I don't know if I deleted it or not. Let me see if I can find it. I don't.
we were talking with Angara, at least from what I've seen, it
deleted
was a bunch of different
well, it went
areas.
it went from like
It goes from Youngstown all the way down to Columbiana County.
around
It like
Struthers.
loops around.
So in that I gotta put my hand down. Sorry, everybody. In that map, and again, you can look it up. It's the 59th congressional district.
It's not there's no
not
59
No,
congressional.
not
Yeah,
congressional. It's the
they did it with
59th
congressional districts as well, but it's the 59th House district,
59th House district.
Ohio House district. Sorry, because there is
And
a House of
like I
Representatives.
said, like Isaac said, it goes like Youngstown around Struthers for some weird
Yeah.
reason, into like around Salem, like down
Mhm.
Mahoning, like
it's
our-
called
our way.
gerrymandering
So what would be the point of that from a Republican point of view?
And it
because
has,
they
like-
pack in as many Republican voters as they can find, so that
and they're
so that-
canceling out like so they had Youngstown,
Mhm. But then they added votes in Columbiana
which
County
is going to be all Republican.
that would counteract
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just do counties? Like I never understood that. Why wouldn't you just do?
Correct.
But like, why was that even allowed to be a thing
so
in the first place?
What's that?
Why was that even allowed to be a thing in the first place? That's what I don't understand. Like, why? Who even sat down and was like, "We're gonna rig up the map so that it looks better for
I don't know.
the left"? Or
I
the
don't
right?
know the history of
Why would you?
gerrymandering.
Why would you even start that? in the
But
first
it makes
place?
sense that when you think about it from a Republican point of view, right?
Absolutely.
Because you're canceling Youngstown out basically with all the with Columbiana, because
Canceling all the Dems and Struthers.
not Struthers in Youngstown, because it's historically Youngstown would be Democrat.
Yeah, but doesn't the thing go around? You said it once.
Yeah, but I'm saying Youngstown. It's into Youngstown though. It's all of Youngstown, and it skips Struthers, which I don't understand.
weird.
It's the weirdest thing. And I mean, I get what you're saying though. It's canceling votes, which is bullshit.
Yeah,
Let's make
it's
it county.
so
Yeah, I don't understand.
if I mean for anybody who's confused, the simplest way to explain gerrymandering is it's a process by which politicians get to pick their voters instead of voters picking their politicians.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's just everybody needs to restart and just go by
And
count.
here's your fun fact, since you both claim to be fiscal conservatives, is that the split primary cost Ohio taxpayers $25 million for the lowest turnout election in Ohio history.
Explain that more.
They had to put on a statewide election because they had to break the primary into two pieces because they were in court defending their illegal maps and they missed the deadline to have them. So LaRose basically said, yeah, sure, take $25 million and have this August the second primary
That
date.
was the August thing. Okay, right. I
And by
remember that.
fiscally conservative, I don't mean like the super detailed stuff like that I know nothing about. I'm talking.
But I
more
mean,
of
I think we
like
can all agree $25 million
broader-
would have been spent a better way.
absolutely.
What's your
But,
what's
like,
your
More of
your-
like broader in terms of like I think we should look out for the United States above all other countries. Like before we're going
That's
and
not
writing.
physically-
I
That's
mean,
not
like,
fiscally conservative. That's called nationalism.
Yeah, that's
okay. Well, what I'm trying to say, money wise, I
We should
agree
keep
with
our
the
money
conserv-
in the
I think so. Yeah, I don't think we should go writing a check for the billions of
Ukraine.
dollars that we gave to Ukraine. I don't think we should do that. I don't think that's a good idea at all. Like, why are we doing that when our country is headed for recession? Why are we doing that? That doesn't make any sense to me.
It's fair.
That's just stupid. Like, and I don't think
I think we can all agree, especially with Ukraine. We've seen the movie before. What happens if the rest of the world doesn't come to their aid? We've seen this movie before.
I understand that.
Red
I
Dawn.
understand
Red
that.
Dawn.
But like, why are we the only? How are there other people writing the check for
Yeah.
$55 billion?
Do you follow Volodymyr Zelensky on Twitter? He's constantly talking about the multiple countries that are contributing. It's a gigantic global effort.
I just don't think it's worth it right now. Not
Look,
right now.
look, this is a good comment. Dude, you need Isaac. Please add
Visuals to
visuals.
the podcast?
Visuals to the pod. That would mean planning.
We the people need to be educated on how this all works. Chris is single-handedly teaching us out getting screwed.
We need to have.
I don't know
Chris-
if that's supposed to be a compliment or an insult.
No, I think no.
No,
That's
it
a
is.
compliment. That's
No.
a compliment.
I was gonna say I don't know how to react to it. So
no, that's a, she's
Steph,
she's-
you'd love
you're,
Steph.
You're giving her a background view of what's going on. I mean,
Gotcha.
yeah, no, that's Steph. That is definitely a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Steph was insulting you, which she does to us constantly, you would.
you would,
I mean,
know.
again, like I think I've proven I don't care if I get insulted. I would just like
No.
to know whether I
No,
have to be
that's
mean in
not
my
gonna
response
no,
or not.
no. I don't know. All right. The reason it is divided by county isn't divided by counties because each district has an equal population. Therefore, you'll have 4 different districts in the city of Columbus
There you go.
versus almost county-wide up here.
That makes sense.
Oh, that Tony, thank you. That and Tony is population. I forget Tony does something. Tony, what are you?
So Tony's a he's a good guy. He's a political consultant. He knows this. He knows
Yeah,
his
he knows
shit.
you. We had him
So
on the show.
you have to make sure it's equal amount of people for each district.
Yeah. Him and
That
his,
makes
him
sense.
and his buddies were on the show. They had
Yeah, they do. They have a really great nonprofit called Classroom to Capital,
Yeah.
where they
Oh,
take
awesome.
they take students to Washington D.C. and try and show them how government works.
And it was like mostly inner
I
city
wasn't
kids,
here for
which was
that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
O'Keefe,
they do.
was sitting in
O'Keefe
for
was
me.
here, and
Yeah,
O'Keefe
I forget where I was. I was on like the
O'Keefe
honeymoon
said they
or something.
had that something like that where he went
Yes.
because O'Keefe's from Akron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he was like,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
That it's like him, Chris Stanley.
Chris.
Yeah, I know his board of directors for that
That-
is fantastic as well.
And that right there is what needs to happen a lot more. You know what I mean? To for everything, because it's how you learn what's going on.
Sure.
I remember. You remember your trip to Washington D.C.?
I didn't go.
So much makes it. Did you go to Washington D.C.?
I don't think so. No,
I think I was on vacation with mom and dad somewhere.
I just don't think it was offered where I went.
Zembauer. What does Zembauer say? Go back. That's a good question. Why do taxpayers pay for primaries in the first place? Why can't Dems and Republicans pay for their own candidate selection?
Because if we did, you'd say that it was a rigged process and we didn't treat it fairly. That's why.
Why don't they just give you guys like a certain limit? Like you're only allowed to collect this much money, or you're only given this much money, and go to town. That's it. That's all you get.
And also those primary elections get used for a lot of issues as well. So it's not just partisan politics on the ballot.
Which president looks like trivia? Which president campaigned from his front porch only and won? I don't know that one, Dave.
I don't know.
When are you gonna update your picture of us really ultra baby face?
Which one? For the podcast?
Oh, he's talking about
The
our
pictures in the intro. I know. No, I need to update
this
it for
one.
sure.
That's not that old. That's like last year.
No, that's not last year. That's like 3 or 4 years ago.
No, that's the newer one.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, that's from
Oh, is that the older one?
Yeah.
Okay, whoops.
3 or
We have
4
a
years
newer
ago.
one. Thanks for the shout out. It was Youngstown City School. There it is. Yep. Yeah, absolutely, Tony. Ugh, this stuff right here. Trent.
I mean, I don't know what I gave you that wasn't.
Republican. I agree with that. A Republican would give their version, and then there's a nonpartisan true version.
I don't think Chris has been too bad tonight.
I mean,
though,
I don't
honestly.
know what I didn't
No.
like.
Yeah, I don't
Are,
think
are you
he's been
saying
too-
that the Supreme Court didn't say, "Hey, this map breaks the fucking law
Yeah.
5 times"?
I think I would call Chris if he was doing it. I think you've been very good today.
I mean, to be fair, you've asked me questions that don't require partisan answers.
Yeah, you've been very good.
And it's pretty. And here, I'll give Trent his partisanship. Here, it's pretty easy to just be blatantly honest when the other side's so publicly corrupt about it.
That gerrymandering thing, I agree. And again, I'm going to call it like I see it. And Luke and Isaac go to Washington. Stephanie, how good Lord. We're getting into the comments that are just people starting to go. So because the news networks wouldn't make enough. Okay. So we're at an hour and 4 minutes already.
Wow,
Dude,
that's wild.
you're like, this has been like a civics lesson. Harry. Good
I
job,
had-
man.
I do what I can.
I appreciate you coming on. Wow, that's fast. Any last questions for Chris before we go? Chris, this has been good, man. This is better than the last.
Chris,
one.
did you text the other guy and like, hey, they said you don't have to come?
No,
You're
I told him, at the last thing I sent him was that they left the door open for you.
Tell McCabe. I want to have McCabe on too because I want.
I know.
that
I
to
think it'd be
happen.
good.
So tell him we want to have him on and we'll schedule because I think both of you on would be awesome.
And it would be cool because if you said something that he might not have disagreed, maybe he'll chirp up and like you guys will battle, and I'll just be able to.
But you
sit
said
here
you guys are buddies.
and ask stupid.
You
questions.
guys text obviously.
I mean,
and-
Tom and I have a good relationship
That's
with each
awesome.
other.
That's awesome, and it's competitive too. So I like that. So.
Absolutely.
Well, we think you're coming on. And by the way, round of applause for both the Democratic Party and Lauren McNally for donating to our Halloween party.
Anytime.
We appreciate that, my friend. And
Happy to.
sponsoring it up. And for those of you, real fast before we get into this, Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday. This is important. And by the way, could you please like this or or hate this face, give us a hate face, smiley face, and like and follow us. You got 50 people watching. On Thursday, we are going to sell tickets. We're going to have an MLO Bros talk back. It's going to be a ticket sale.
Ticket sale for the Halloween party.
We are starting to sell 100 tickets. That's all we got.
100 to 150.
100 to 150, but we're going to shoot for 100.
150.
I think it's too many people.
It's not enough people.
It's just plenty of people.
It's not enough people.
We did the math
It's
already.
not
That's
enough
fine.
people.
So 100 people.
There's not enough freaking room.
150
Would you
people.
shush your mouth? It's too many people. We can't do
The
150
maximum occupancy of that room
people. That's not 150.
is 150.
Dude, maximum.
That's what the
occupancy, You're
lady
gonna be
said.
sitting on Chris's lap.
That's what the lady said. 150.
It's 100 people. I don't care what Isaac says. You can have your own party somewhere else. It's 100. We have a DJ.
150 people.
We're going to have a DJ. We have food. It's going to be
Open bar.
big announcement. Open bar.
We got enough sponsorship. Open bar for the event.
You coming, Chris?
Just got to
Open
pay
bar?
to get
Big
in.
drinker?
What day is it? I don't drink at all, actually.
You don't?
It's okay.
It's okay because you can buy one of the tickets that'll save us money for the donations. I'll drink your share.
Yeah, so it's 100. It's October 29th at the Magic Tree. We're gonna have a psychic, a DJ, food, costume party
All profits go to the sensory room at Poland for the kids.
for the
Poland
special
schools.
special needs children.
Yes.
We
Correct.
are still expecting sponsors. We just got one today. You can get a business sponsor for 150, a DJ psychic sponsor for 375. If you're a business, we'd love to have you guys help us out. Again, proceeds all go to the kids.
And we already have one bar sponsor
We have-
for
We have
$750
two now.
from Coney's. We got another one.
We
What's
have
the other
two.
one?
Coney's and
That's awesome. That is so cool.
Who was the other one? I gotta look at my thing. We have another one.
Okay, and then Coney said he might have another guy who's going to sponsor too. So this is great.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
this is great. We're
it's
going to really raise some
huge
money for
amounts
the
of money.
sensory room.
You want to donate a gift basket? We'll raffle out a gift basket. Absolutely. We'll take donations, we'll raffle it all off. We need
Yeah.
money. Absolutely. Anything we can do to make money. Chris,
Anything we can do to make money for the kids, Luke? For the kids.
you guys wait to see me drive in a new Porsche. And then anyways, October 29th. It is 6 to 11.
Magic Tree.
Magic Tree. Tickets go on sale. We're going to sell them here. You have your Venmo out. First 100 tickets, you take.
150.
Stop saying that. So yeah, you got to be on Facebook, and then we'll do tickets. But I'm telling you, these tickets are going to go fast. We're playing beer pong, Isaac. You like beer pong?
I like beer pong.
We're gonna play beer pong.
I like beer pong.
Do you like
flip cup?
flip cup?
We could have flip cup.
All of these games will be played for donation. So you're gonna have to bring some money too, because we want you to bring money and give more money to the kids. So it's gonna all be you're gonna like $5 play.
Yeah, and it's open bar, but could you please be civil about it? Not like, oh,
Well, here's gonna be-
17
I already
shots.
I already thought of my first comment, Chris, for the open
Make
bar.
sure you tip the bartenders.
Yes.
Yeah, so
yes.
here's gonna be my first tip. That's like, okay, everybody, welcome to our party. I've been practicing this.
I'd like to let everyone know it is an open bar. However, every time you drink, you take away from the children.
There are 2 buckets by the
Yeah.
bar.
So
We'd
bring-
like
bring
please
cash.
bring cash, put money in, because
Yeah.
because I'm worried about the barbell.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Three buckets at the bar. We'll have two
One tip?
donation buckets
and one
and
tip.
one giant tip bucket.
Yeah, because we're gonna tip.
So every time you go buy a drink, or every time you get a drink, you
$1
better
each.
toss at least $1 or
I
two
better see a
in
dollar.
each one of those buckets.
We'll have the ATM machine. Is that fair? Is that a good idea, Chris? I don't know. You
What?
do fundraisers all the time, don't you? You're a marketing guy.
I don't do fundraisers all the time.
Do you do marketing stuff? Is it okay to market a Halloween party for the kids with beer pong? Flip
I mean,
cup?
whatever. You
it's-
got to know your audience. Whatever your
As
audience
long
is.
as it's completely separate. See, that's my thing. It has to be completely separate, and then we're raising money by having fun, and it's going to a good cause. But like, let us have
I mean,
our
I'll,
fun. in the
I'll
meantime.
preface it by saying too that you should probably run any of your ideas past a lawyer to make sure you're not breaking some kind of nonprofit law.
We're not nonprofit at all.
We're just donating
We're
money.
just- there you go,
Money,
then.
yeah.
We're
We're,
just
not, we're not a
giving.
nonprofit at all.
I didn't know if you had a nonprofit arm. Or...
No, we're working.
We're
It's
working
working
on
on
it.
approval, but I wouldn't do that through this. Like I said, I just want to do. Yeah,
What kind of laws could you break?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've just defaulted in general to if I have an idea I'm not sure about, I
Go
just
to the
ask an
lawyers.
attorney.
Probably a good call.
the nonprofit stuff, like he said, it's got to be like specific. There's all kinds of rules. So
Run it by
Chris,
Chip, Luke.
Will you,
Run it by
come,
Chip.
will you come back again?
Sure.
These conversations are great. Like he's like a wealth of knowledge with
He
the
is.
with the government. I love that.
All right, everybody.
Thank you. Steph just said, don't get sued. Steph, you're doing the decorations. If we get sued, we're bringing you down with us.
Keep working on decor, Steph.
And if we go down, Steph, you're involved. I'm going to say it was all you. So, all right, everybody.
I'm sure Jay. Pull up that comment, John. I'm sure Jay wouldn't like us doing that because he doesn't like fun. So that's just how it is.
Look, thanks, Chris. Love when you were a guest.
You got friends.
There we go.
So. Everybody, again, thank you for watching. We appreciate Chris as always. Thank you, man. Good luck in the upcoming elections with all your things going on. Great conversation. We will see everybody Thursday for the ticket sales. No more questions.
One more question.
Well, ask later. You message him. Oh my God,
I don't even know who that.
Can you guys stop making questions? I'm trying to close this thing out.
The MLO Bros stands for Mortgage Loan Originator Brothers. So we are loan officers. If you are interested in using us to help you purchase your next home, refinance, please tell your family, friends, coworkers about us. We would greatly appreciate it. You can reach out to us on our personal Facebook pages. I think you can find that info on the MLO Bros Facebook page. But
thanks to our new sponsors, Myers Insurance, Troy Polis. There's this picture. I didn't have a phone number. Valley Insurance and Ironfoot Chip. All right.
Are we selling out? We have a lot of sponsors.
We do. We want more sponsors.
But thank you everybody for watching. And so we don't get sued. NMLS number 1949316. And if you need financing, you can call me or Luke. My cell phone's 330-921-8978.
Cutting this off because we just keep talking.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks,
Chris.
Living on fat pockets on gold. They got blowing around 9 dudes Cadillac. Still got my homies to watch my back and to smoke your ass. And when I come jack, that's why some pigs and the kids come sweating. They follow. Hollow point chills hard to swallow. Why wallow when they come to roll on it with the clip in the wolf? I break your head sign. Not kicking dust cause he to get bust. My crib's surrounded. I'm about to get brushed. A brush with that. How many shells left in my closet? Where my back roll makes black when the shit goes down. Better be ready. When the shit goes down. When the shit goes down. You better be ready. When the shit goes down. When the shit goes down. You better be ready. When the shit goes down. When the shit goes down. You better be ready. Better be ready. I told the boys to start off Glocks and the rest of the guys I strap on the bulletproof vest. I think I got one for that test. Hot damn, I didn't want to kill a man. Shit, still stand tall with the Hill Clan. Y'all, you better step back. You better fall. I'm coming up blasting like a Simony Sam. I got the cheese and the bread for the ham. Shit goes down.